Okay, so let's get started. We need to start taking off the door panel. To do that, I'm going to use a plastic trim tool. Come right in like this, carefully pry. Obviously, I don't want to scuff up my door panels. They're just plastic. Right under here, you have a 10 millimeter. I'm going to remove that. When we come down to the lower corner, you're going to see there's this little trap door. Just use a small pocket screwdriver or whatever you have that could open that up. And inside there, there's a Phillips head screw. So we're just going to use a Phillips head screwdriver and remove that screw. Okay. A little magnet here. Looks like it's going to stay in there because of this little plastic thing. It's okay. Just lift up on the door panel. It should want to come off. You don't want to pull too far because there is going to be some wiring, of course, for the window switch and all this right here. Okay, so on the back side of the panel, if you squeeze, you're going to feel a little squeezy clip. That's what it looks like. Just squeeze it with your index, pull this out. Do the same thing for the next one. Let's see. Should want to slide right out of there. Perfect. Let's set our door panel aside. So the next thing we need to do is start disconnecting some of this wiring, okay? Grab that little squeeze tab, separate that. This part's going to come down here. We're going to pop this out of here. I'm just going to get my little fork tool. Actually, I can pull it right out. All it is a little push pin. We'll set this right down like this. Right here you have another clip. This one has a red lock on it. So you're going to use your small pocket screwdriver and press that red lock so it goes all the way away. Grab the squeeze tab, remove this. We're going to follow this way. You can just unweave it from the door panel. It just comes up here and it's going to go up to the latch, okay? This is the electrical for the latch. We're going to wait on unplugging that, obviously, because we can't get in there, but it is going to be undone. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to move along. We're going to start removing all these 10 millimeter headed bolts. Awesome. Let's try to wiggle this around a little bit. Just make sure we have all the bolts out. It's feeling pretty good. Awesome. Okay, so we're just going to take the window switch out of here. You can leave it on and just plug it in directly, but then you get this big door panel in the way. Me personally, I just push it, give it a little tug. Comes right out. Set this aside again. Okay, so we got the window so it's working. There's a little piece of tape right here, and this was just pretty much where this wire was, okay? Take that tape, set it aside because you're going to reuse it. So now if you look inside the hole right here, we're going to pay attention to see if we can see where the window comes down. Oh, see the little white thing? If I can get it to just do a little half jump there. Okay. Right inside there, you can see where the glass is, and you can see a little white nub. That's the locking nub that's holding the window to the regulator. So at this point, you're going to want to try to push in on that nub and separate it from the glass, and that way there we can draw this out. Okay, so we're going to try to push in on that white tab, being very careful because we're dealing with glass here. Try to push it and then lift up on the glass and see if we can get it to come free. Okay, so we've got some tape in hand here. We're going to pull the window up and try to tape it so it definitely cannot fall down. Okay, so if you look right along here, you're going to see a nice little plastic cover. That's just hiding a trap door. Right in here. Right inside there, you're going to find a 10 millimeter nut. Got my little tool here. Okay, well, I'll get all that out in a second. Now that we're at this point, you should be able to wiggle this around. You should want to come down. You just have to keep in mind that you still have some rods attached. So, you want to be careful for that stuff. If you want to, you can come right over here, disconnect it from this side. It should want to disconnect fairly easily. Slide down. It's just got a little clip on it. and lift that up. Cool. Set that aside. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up these latch bolts here and remove them. And these are just T27 bolts. Should be able to move around a little bit. We're going to remove this bolt. It's a Torx Bit 25. Okay, just give it a little wiggle here. It should be wanting to come out for you at this point. Let's just take a look, see if we're stuck on anything. Definitely seems like I'm hanging up over here, so I want to be careful not to break anything, of course. I've got my wiring on this side that I would like to pull all the way through. So I'm going to see if I can find where to disconnect this electrical harness, which is right here. If I squeeze this tab, I should be able to pull it right off of there. Now I'm going to draw this through. Come like this. Disconnect this. Come right over here. Push this through. Alright. Get all this through there. Okay. That leaves us with our speaker wire. If you follow it up here, right up along the top, right where my thumb's going to go, there's a squeeze tab. Squeeze it, pull it off, check it. That came right off. It's just a little push tab. All right. We're gonna try to get this out of here. Look at that. Okay, so we have one mounting nut right here, and the other one was the nut that we removed from back there. So that one's already gone. Using a 10 millimeter, just take that nut right off of there. Okay, now we're going to grab the handle and we'll pull it right out. Nice. Okay, so it's time to install our brand new TRQ handle. Line up the studs with the holes, hold it in. Then we're going to put in that last nut that we just removed, the 10 millimeter. I'm just going to snug this up. Nice. So let's grab our wiring, minus the speaker wiring, of course, and just start sliding it through that hole inside the window regulator panel. Same way we removed it. Okay, so we got the wires through. You can connect your speaker wire if you want. Just go straight in. Get your little clippy-do here. Sometimes they hold, sometimes they don't. We're going to put this plug in a second, but we're going to leave it out for now just because we have to be able to pull this panel all the way over so we can get this latch in there. And then we're going to have to do a little bit of finagling. And at this point, we can start putting this back in. Just make sure that you have the seal all the way around. And slid in. Perfect. Come like this. You can see if I can get this in now. Okay, so before we forget, we want to make sure that we run this wire all the way up through this hole, okay? And then come in here, and this connects to the connector on the latch, which will operate the locks. So just make sure you put that in. If you forget this part and you get the whole door panel back together, it's going to be a nightmare. You'll have to pull everything back apart. So there we are. So let's just put in a couple of these bolts. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just want to kind of hold this. We'll tighten them all up later. That's just to make sure that the panel can't fall off and potentially hurt us. And now we're going to continue on to the latch side. Okay, so we've got our 3 bolts for the latch. Let's install those. I'm just going to start all 3 before I tighten any of them down. Let's snug them up. Beautiful. Let's do this one. nice and snug. Okay. Okay, it's bottomed, just a teeny bit more. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got our little rubber plug. That on there. Nice. So let's get this little clip back on here. See if I can slide it on there. Just take an 8mm socket, slide it over it. Nice. Okay, so let's start the rest of these bolts in. Make our way around. Awesome. All right, so let's get this back to connected. Got a little push tab. Slide that in there, right here, for the window. Nice and locked. That looks great. Put that up like that. We're going to leave these for now. Okay, so now it's going to be time to carefully, very carefully, lower the window down. And we're going to watch right in here to make sure that the window goes into its little locking area. Once we know that it's in, we'll give it a little tug, make sure it's locked in great, and then we can continue. So here we go. There it is. Okay, I felt it lock in. I can't lift up on it. It's not moving around. That's great. I'm gonna move right over here. We'll get this little plug back in there. Now we're gonna start running this wire back along the way that we took it out. Go like that, like that. Cool. I'm gonna get a little piece of tape. I'm just gonna cover this up. We can use the one from the original window regulator if you want. Take a little black sticker. Let's put this back over that hole. Beautiful. So now would be a perfect time to plug this in and test it. Once you know it's good, you can continue putting the rest of it back together. Just gonna get this switch put back in there. Hold it while you try to connect it. That's good. Once you press it in, of course, give it a tug. Beautiful. Bring this back up the way that it's supposed to be. You got your door lock. It's going to go up through the door lock hole. It's very important. Okay, let's just slide this down. It might be a little difficult because there's a hook in the middle there, and there's two along the bottom. All those need to be pressed in to the holes that they need to correspond with, and then you slide it down. Give it a couple bonks. All right, let's start mounting it in. All right, so we've got our little 10mm headed bolt here. Snug that up. We're gonna go down here and tighten up that screw. All right, so we've got our little Phillips head screw here. Get it in there, hopefully. Make sure it's nice and snug. Oh yeah. Close that door. You're going to take your trim piece, pull on this, slide it right through like that. Should want to slide back. Once it's slid back, beautiful.